I think Victor Wembanyama is going to be in everybody's MVP ladder in the top 5 by mid-November, and he will not fall out of that status. Like, I just think whatever. How many different times have we just like half jokingly hyperbolized about him? Like, I think I used undeniable for Reed Shepherd. Like, he's going to be truly undeniably good, where the numbers are like, he can't be outside of the top 5 in MVP. Like, he just can't.
So, by the way, so I'm staring at the picture I have of him on screen. I don't know if I'm just looking at it too hard, but doesn't it kind of look like that's NBA 2K? I mean, like, it doesn't look like a real person anymore.
It kind of looks like he just like conquered a country, and he's posing for the statue that they're building outside his palace. That's what it looks like to me.
So I think that's probably, honestly, I would say it's appropriately hot to too hot, because you could look at it. So Luka Doncic, I think he finished 9th in MVP voting as a sophomore. LeBron finished 6th, I believe. So it's just like, you have those, we have a track record of, okay, guys can finish that high, but there's still, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Like, how do you view it in the MVP discussion where, let's say the Spurs have like a +10 net rating with Wembanyama on the court, but they're -30 without him. Yeah. They're not going to win enough games for him to be in the discussion. And I shit on people, like subtweet them while talking or whatever we call it, throw shade. I don't know how to reconcile that. It's like, well, how much I understand the impetus, like, well, the MVP should come from someone on a top tier team, but how much do you penalize someone for what's happening when they're not on the court? Right. Doesn't that sort of make and there's been an uptick in this, is we want guys who are on great teams, but they make their team so much better because their teams struggle without them on the court. That's not going to be Wemby. I don't think that the Spurs are going to win enough games to put him in the top 5 of the MVP ballot. Like, we're talking about, like, just to run through some names here. So he has to finish ahead of at least one of Luka, Giannis, Embiid, Shea, Tatum, Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards,
Jokic.
Fuck Jokic. Is he even
waiting
good?
for when you're going to get there.
John Moran, and look at like kind of the other like John Morant, if the Grizzlies are good, like if they are just all of a sudden the 3rd best team in the West again after that gap year, he's going to get a bunch of credit. I think that makes it the appropriate amount of hot, because I think Wembanyama will be good and impactful enough to do that. But this idea that we've gotten to a point where, I'm not even just saying that voters are okay with it, but that it is okay in general to have someone so high up in the MVP discussion who's not on a team that's above, like, are the Spurs going to be, if they're above 500, it's because they won 42 games. So if you're saying this, and I'm not saying that you're saying this, if this is your take, I think you also have to believe that the Spurs are going to win at least 45 games.
I think I think realistically, it's like, remember when Westbrook I was going to reference him for another reason, but like, what did the Thunder finish 6th the year that he averaged the triple double?
Didn't they win 47 though? Wasn't that the year?
Yeah. And it was just like, can we give this guy the MVP? And the answer was like, yeah, I think it was the wrong answer, but the answer was like, yeah, the numbers are just like, how do we not, right? Like, but he also had all the crazy clutch stuff where it was like, no, he actually did just win them games that they shouldn't have. So like, that win total was like, oh no, it's like extremely attributable just to him, anecdotally, because he won them this game and then this one and this one, in addition to the numbers. I just think like the Jokic argument of like, look at the on-off, and like the Russ argument of like, look at the box score numbers, and we'll combine with like the hype machine and the possibility that the Spurs are actually like close to good enough as a team, that it's just that we're going to get like not that far into the season where we just have to kind of like throw our hands up and say, like, I don't know, like how do we not, like how do we not have him in the top 5?
It would actually be, could you see people viewing it as like, it doesn't matter because he's 5th? Not like obviously finishing 5th, where this really isn't going to impact it. Like maybe if it's in the top 3, for instance, like this could change things if it's a really deep MVP landscape or it's up for debate. But if you're throwing him 5th, it's like, well, he's not going to win anyway. Who am I actually impacting? That might be like the strongest argument.
Right. It's like we're Tatum Booker zone, where it's like, we have to put him here. He's not going to win, but we just got to put him here to just acknowledge, like, let's keep a record of history to make sure everybody realizes. But with him, I think the numbers are just going to be so extreme that it's like something a little different than like the obligatory Tatum, Brunson, whatever MVP, that level of MVP.
We are on to, it's my turn again, the Toronto Raptors. So it won't be a long preamble, but it deserves a preamble why it's hot. Anyway, Scottie Barnes will average 25 points and 8 assists per game this year. And now I'm going to tell you, Grant, why that is hot. While this, whoops, man, I'm getting really bad at the screen things. I apologize to anyone who's watching and having a seizure while seeing it. So 25-8 when you're 8 before your 25th birthday is rarefied air. The list of players to do it is this is ridiculous. Luka has done it 4 times. Trey did it 3 times. And then Oscar Robertson, who I am, by the way, doing shorts, Robertson did it twice. I call him Oscar Robinson, or it sounds like I do so many times, and I don't understand why.
I would correct you, but I think I have become immune to it because you do it all the time.
All
and
the time,
I don't
as if I
clock
don't
it.
know who he is, which I guess is fair. But I obviously know who Oscar Robertson is, but my pronunciation is so bad. It's my nasally voice. I'm really saying Robertson, but it sounds like Robinson.
All right.
So
You're absolved.
Scottie Barnes is going to average 25-8, which doing so before your 24th birthday, only Luka, Trey, Oscar Robertson, Tiny Archibald, and John Morant have done.
I like the approach because those are some names. I'm worried. I feel like it might be too hot, only because like isn't quickly going to have the like I don't know. I'm stuck between too hot and like appropriately hot. It's not an issue where I don't think it's not hot enough. If anything, it's too hot. So what's your just he's just going to be that much better, and the playmaking burden is huge, and that's how he does it.
That's how he does it. But okay, so Emmanuel quickly is going to have the ball. Who else is running the offense?
Jakob Poeltl at the elbow, baby.
All right, Jakob Poeltl, RJ Barrett, maybe Bruce Brown if he's healthy. But realistically, Bruce Brown probably gets traded at some point midseason, assuming he's healthy. You're not going to want to run too much of your offense through Jakob Poeltl. Do you even have the spacing to do that? So I'm just looking at it from, I think he's good enough. I want to make it clear. I think he improved enough last year, basically every part of his game. And I just think the usage, like the opportunity, I'll frame it as, for him to, because who's going to be the better off-ball option? So let's look at their core lineups. Emmanuel Quickly or Scottie Barnes. I think you'd prefer to have Emmanuel Quickly off the ball just because of his own shooting.
Yep.
So I think, I mean, I can't say it's not hot enough, but I do think the opportunity is going to be there, that because Scottie Barnes is so skilled, it'll be within reach. And it really comes down to, I mean, to me, what do you think is more likely, that he averages 25 points or averages 8 assists?
Huh. I mean, eight's hard to get to. I feel like for a non-point guard, although he's kind of gonna be that.
He was at 6.1 last year.
Yeah,
he was at about 20 points and 6 assists. So that's a huge. He probably wins most. I know I picked Jalen Suggs to win it, but if he's at 25-8, he probably wins most improved player.
And that'll be another one where it's like this guy had it last year and just didn't play enough, so we got to give it to, like, you know what I mean? Like there's going to be a delayed MIP thing. You're right on the border of too hot for me, because that's crazy. 25-8 for a forward, unless you're LeBron, which even like, I mean, yeah, he struggles to do that like in his prime. That's just so many assists. That's a good one. I'm not gonna say that's not hot enough. It's some degree of appropriately hot.
Well, you still didn't answer the initial question: is what would you feel is more likely, hitting the 25 or hitting the 8?
I think he's more likely to get 25, just because even though that's a bigger jump, the 8 is like, that's just, I don't know. It's so dependent on other guys, and it's like if one of your questions about this team is like who other than Grady Dick is going to make shots, like I don't know, some of those assists might be hard to come by. So I think I guess 25. I mean, they're both going to be tough to get to. Obviously, historically, they're really hard.